would be nice. Interesting. Okay, so Chris, you have a lot of hats these days, and it sounds like you've kind of always had a lot of hats. How do you just live life while, and it's not necessarily the gig economy, which is having a lot of kind of jobs, but let's just say it's similar to the gig economy where you have kind of a lot of transactions coming in from a lot of different means. Being told for so long that the way to do it is to go work this one job and work it up that way, and yet you're doing kind of the opposite, where it's like you have several different money-making opportunities. Is that something that's hard to describe to people? Is that something that you think hurts your brand because you don't know which one to tell that person at the right time? How do you handle those situations?
That's a very good question. And
I'm the best interviewer in the world. Self-acclaimed.
Yeah, it's difficult. So, I mean, you're right. Growing up, it's always that, you go work here and you do this forever and ever. And, my wife's dad is the perfect example. Started at the Ford plant when he was 17 on the line, and that's where he retired. And, when I mentioned that I was thinking about getting out of the cities, oh, you're going to go away from the benefits and this, and it's definitely an older mentality. I think, some of the numbers that I'd seen years ago was, people of the baby boomer age probably have 3 jobs max in their lifetime. And that's generally, from 30s on, not stuff that they had in high school. And then people of our generation go from anywhere from 4 to 12 jobs in a lifetime. And, some of them say that it's just the impatient, gotta have now mentality of the millennials and the younger people. But I think that it has a lot to do with kind of what people enjoy and doing in life. And, the world is much different than it was in 1975, with just property rates. And, I can get on a whole nother segue about what pensions did and how the standard didn't raise. And, but to kind of circle back, it can be, sometimes I do find it a little difficult to try to figure out what angle to come in. So, essentially I have the government process and real estate development consulting plan, which does everything from, city processes like building permits, site planning, land use, access to capital, special like enterprise zone grant stuff. So it's all about also knowing your audience and kind of who you're talking to. And really the thing that I do the most is just, I ask a bunch of different questions. To try to figure out where, because again, with real estate, single family or commercial, and then the whole development process, and that even entails getting, lottery licenses and tobacco licenses for businesses. It's really what it boils down to is trying to figure out what type of person am I talking to? What is their goal? When I'm just standing up and broadly talking about myself to, the public, as a whole, and I'm not engaging one particular person or one particular topic, I do find myself kind of segueing in a bunch of different areas. And also my ADHD brain, I can start talking about license plates and of dogs, 3 minutes later. So, I do find it can be difficult, but generally based on the real estate and the government process side, a lot of it overlaps and aligns itself. So we can start talking about one thing or another. A perfect example would be one of the guys I used to work with in planning, Matt Simons. He's got a cousin that owns a manufacturing business at Portsmouth. They were originally calling me about enterprise zone information. And as I started digging and asking questions, I might now be helping them get SWAM certified, register with eVirginia, and just it's really, like I said, it can be tough trying to hone in, but I find that just asking a million questions and them asking me a million questions is the easiest way to go. And whenever you leave, you always think of, 15 more. So just again, it goes back to being open, text me, call me whenever. It goes back to that relationship thing. People want to feel valued and want to do business with people that they like.
Yeah. So on the flip side, do you ever find yourself in a position where localities are contacting you to find out where they need to position themselves based on the needs of the business owners or the businesses trying to establish themselves?
So I haven't yet, and the consulting thing is new-ish. It's not been, obviously I did it for the city of Norfolk for 7+ years. So I am not getting, the big wigs to give me the call yet, but I mean, I do have, through just as people start, associating Chris with not being in the city and doing these other things, I am having bigger companies kind of call on me to help. I would love to get in with some of the localities as well. And that ends up going on to me and doing my own marketing and making those relationships. I do have a lot of relationships still with people in all the different cities, but I haven't gotten that yet. And mostly it's, somebody that I may have come across in the past is talking to somebody, oh, you need to do that. And somebody's like, oh, you need to call Chris Till. And that's just what happened with the Matt Simon thing. Is I said, well, what do you know about enterprise? She's like, I got this guy you need to talk to. And, Matt didn't even really know that I was doing necessarily the consulting stuff on the side, but knew that I used to run the enterprise zone with the city of Norfolk and said, hey, call this guy. So it goes back to treating people like they, matter. And hopefully, you live your life in that it'll come back to you tenfold.